Geoff. Morning, Pelly. Alright, Shadow Zoo. This is a list we actually played somewhat recently. Again, trying our Soul-Scar Mage as opposed to Wild Nikado. That was pretty reasonable last time. Makes your mana a little bit better. One thing I'm not sure if I'm 100% fan of in this build is it's eschewed even the 4th copy of Tarmogoyf, which this archetype tends to be a little bit threat light. So I'm not sure I like skimping on a Goyf, although Goyf is a little awkward sometimes with our Delve card, so maybe it makes sense. If we run into Splinter Twin, we have their number here with Rending Volley. I'm trying to think, like, what is Rending Volley in this sideboard for? Are there blue or white creature decks running around that I am, like, misremembering? Because this notably misses, like, Lyra, right? I wonder if this is better than playing Combust. Just because Combust, does Combust do what I remember it doing? Oh, it's for humans. That makes sense. It kills Mantis Rider for 1. Okay. Yeah, I'd buy that for $1. But, like, what is the kill there that Lightning Bolt doesn't? It kills, like, a Mantis Rider with 1/1 counter on it? Hey, Rock. Thank you for the 12 months of support. Have a sword to go with your shield. Thanks for keeping me around. Oh, Spirits. Yeah, that's probably it. That deck's not super popular anymore, but that's gotta be it. This hand seems fine. We're gonna turn 1 Soul-Scar Mage and then double Swiftspear and attack, probably. 3 lands is a little bit much, but 2 of them are fetch lands to enable us to become immense, so that's nice. If we draw like a Mutagenic Growth, we could potentially kill them on turn 3. So my opponent used a mechanic called Suspend, so it kind of puts this card on delay for 2 turns for a cheaper cost, and then they cast it later. For people not super familiar with Modern, this is indicative of a Scapeshift strategy or a Primeval Titan strategy. I think I'm just going to play Swiftspear on 1, actually, since I drew this Thoughtseize and just get damage going ASAP. Yeah, I guess it's more indicative of Titan than Scapeshift, right? Some of the Titan decks have foregone playing Scapeshift and are playing through the Breach because it makes them a little bit faster. But 100% a Primeval Titan deck, not close. Yep, not surprised. I like their sequencing there, being aggressive with the use of Lightning Bolt not getting blown out by prowess triggers on my turn. So I think I'm actually going to wait on this Thoughtseize, thinking about it a little more. Although that's a Death Shadow. Huh? Oh, I didn't get a black land, so I can't Death Shadow this turn. That's unfortunate. Alright, so we're going to get Blood Crypt here. I want to give my opponent's big plays tend to cost 5 and 6 mana. So I'm going to wait a turn to play this Thoughtseize because I can't play one of their big plays next turn. So by waiting a turn on the Thoughtseize, I give them the most chances to draw a payoff card that I actually want to take away from them. 1 with nothing. Thank you for the 7 months of support. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, that's a funny way to think of it, Pelly. Hey, is there a patch live yet? Or it go live this afternoon? It'll probably be live by the time I'm offline, right? Or by the time I'm done with Magic. Because they're UK based. Yep. Trade Builder's a little annoying here. So they've got 1 card left in their hand. So hopefully the top of their deck isn't amazing. We're actually in a pretty good spot here unless they rip the thing off the top. But for people who aren't familiar with playing against these decks, it's always on top. we are currently in a favorable position, but we are by no means guaranteed to win. So they'll block, sacrifice this. This will resolve next turn, so they're going to have 8 lands with the land in their hand. So Scape Shift will be lethal. Titan actually isn't lethal at this point, right? Like, they'd get double Valakut, and they'd play a Mountain deal 6, and then I can kill them next turn with the Become Immense. Great. Close, not quite. Where's my damage on the stack? Is Vanafear still up there? After playing more with the Vanafear deck, I kind of became disinterested in it. Oh, good, they drew Scape Shift. So this is how Modern works. We Thoughtseize my opponent, and we were in a really good spot, and then they drew the card off the top of their deck that killed us. So for people not familiar with Scape Shift, basically how it works is there's a land called Valakut the Molten Pinnacle in Modern, and when you cast Scape Shift, it goes and gets 1 or 2 Valakut the Molten Pinnacle, depending on how many lands they have, and it gets a bunch of mountains with it, which deals lethal damage to me. And that game is really just a great example of kind of just like how Modern works. Like, my opponent and I didn't really meaningfully interact with each other. Like, they blocked my 2-power guy at one point, and I Thoughtseize them and took nothing. This format is a lot of playing past each other, which is why good decks like this one are ones that tend to be able to kill the opponent on the 3rd or routinely 4th turn of the game. So that way you can kind of ignore what they're doing for the most part and just like be linear. In Magic, we refer to decks as linear if they are just trying to execute their own game plan and not worry about the opponent. That's a great way to put it, Dauber, for any standard players that are here early. Modern is like every matchup is a Reclamation Mirror. Yeah, I think the Vanafear deck is fine overall. I just think the consistency at which it's linear and the ability at which it's able to interact just isn't quite at what I'm interested in playing. So, for instance, I think I'm going to go to... I think I found one of the subs in the subs Discord, Johnny Boy, is going to mail me a copy of Green Black Elves to play in the Nerd Rage tournament later this month. I think I'm going to go play in that. It's been a little bit since I played a paper tournament. Kind of got the itch. You know, one day tournament sounds better than taking a whole weekend. I don't think we'll ever get there, Brian. I think even if Standard is kind of mediocre, the fact that Arena is just so much easier to consume in terms of content, we won't get back to that point. I do have a lot of good hope for the new non-rotating format, though. That'll be a thing. Yeah, Mishra's Bauble is a 0-mana cantrip that's Delve Fodder. It also triggers Prowess, as we saw there. Angel Cord just suffers from the same issue that a lot of decks in this format suffer from that I no longer would consider playable, and that is just too fair and it's just too fair and slow. The format Modern is a format that's gotten more fast and brutal with time. So if your deck isn't powered by brutal efficiency, it's just really not competitive. Hey, Quillman, thanks for the 1.5 years. Welcome back. I've been trying to make Sultai Flash work for a long time, and seeing your deck list helped me know I wasn't doing it right. Thanks for the great deck. Awesome, I'm glad you're enjoying it. Yeah, we're going to be playing that first thing up again today. I think that's probably so. Because I finished in the top 1,000, I qualified for the Arena Mythic Championship qualifier, whatever it's called, at the end of the month. So I think that's going to be my number 1 pick for deck I'm going to work on. Yeah, that's such an apt descriptor. It is a control deck with teeth. Like, can win the game quickly, but also just ends it. or it's very interactive but can control the game. So this is worth 4, and this is worth 8. So that's 8, 12, 13, 14. So I can put them to 1 here. Let's just count that again. 2, 6, 14. So one thing that's kind of interesting to note here is that if I would have waited on the Mishra's Bauble for a turn and played it on turn 2, so I would have gotten an extra prowess trigger off of it, we would have actually killed them here on 3. So it's possible that I sequenced incorrectly with Bauble. Like, obviously, my line of thought was I wanted to draw my card as soon as possible, but maybe I should have stopped to think about holding it for the second one of these. Yeah, the widget that I was using previously, Dauber, stopped updating correctly for some reason. I just haven't had time to work with the person who made it to figure it out. And the redirect link sends people to my website, which is not strictly a bad thing for me either. See, I think even if there's a chance that Grixis mid-range, or that Esper mid-range is better than Esper Control against the field, the fact that Esper Control is really decent against Esper mid-range probably keeps Esper Control around. Alright, good clean turn 4 kill here. Welcome to Thunderdome. Enjoy your stay. That's not true, Brian. Do you not remember the artifact set? I remember Jace the Mind Sculptor and Stoneforge Mystic. Johnny, got your message to ship it out later today. Thank you. I appreciate it. Coming in hot with the tiny green people. Thank you for the prime as well. You remember Urza Block Standard? And for the record, I think the stigma that surrounds banning cards is silly. I think banning cards that are problematic makes a lot of sense. And is a very reasonable thing to be doing. I would much rather Wizards push the envelope by designing potentially things that are too powerful rather than being too conservative and never making sweet cards. I have Narset. They cast Chemist's Insight, forgetting Narset text like Jeff did. I say, okay, resolves. They grab 2 cards, look at them before they can stop. What do we do? You call a judge. The answer to your question is whenever you are unsure what to do in your situation is, you call a judge. And in that situation, the judge should reveal the opponent's hand to you, and you'll get to take 2 cards out of their hand and shuffle them back into their deck. But again, the correct answer is call a judge. The easiest way to tell if you should call a judge is if you think you should call a judge, you should definitely call a judge. The only people that will get upset with you for calling a judge are cheaters or idiots, and you shouldn't care about the opinions of either of those people. Saw 3, thank you for the prime. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope things go all right for you. Didn't know what the solution was. I am like 90% certain the correct solution in that instance is you get to look at their hand and you get to take 2 cards out of it. So, in this instance, I talked about being more conservative to get more prowess triggers last game. In this instance, I'm using the Bauble proactively here, even though I'm going to miss a prowess trigger from it, because I want the best chance to draw a third land next turn, so that way I can become Immense plus Temur Battle Rage to kill them on the third turn. I think Lifetime, and this is something that a lot of people who played during the standard format could relate to. I think the thing I've most often called a judge on myself for was Phantom Courser Syndrome. Everyone remembers that one, right? So for people not familiar, Courser of Crufix was a card where you reveal the top card of your deck every turn, and if it's a land, you can play it off the top. Well, it happened pretty regularly that people would just like instinctually flip up the next card of their deck because they're just used to doing it, but like the Courser died the previous turn, so like the judge would have to come over and give you a warning for looking at extra cards. Alright, so again, talking about being linear, playing past the opponent. Looks like we're getting set up for a turn 3 kill here. So they have a Lightning Bolt available to them here, but thanks to this Mutagenic Growth, that shouldn't matter. So then I get to Battle Rage this, despite all the rage. Which gives it +6/+6 plus a prowess trigger. And then Temur Battle Rage gives it double strike. So this will be an 11/11. So silly opponent, thought you were gonna get a 4th turn. If you've seen Connolly's pitched blue list, I have. Sure. Let's say sure. Put a variation that you would prefer of it through the form, and that one will be fine to add. Tom, oh no. Almost out of the terrible 2s. That means I'm an adult soon, right? Welcome back, Tom. Prince Tate, thanks for the 5. And Aaron, thanks for the 37. 37. Gosh. Declan turns 4 in a week. I must say, this Shadow Zoo deck is really growing on me. I think I might like this better than Grixis Shadow, honestly. Yeah, Zach's blue-white Super Friends list seems really sweet. We're actually gonna play the black-white mid-range deck we're gonna play later today. Is also a 4x Mobilized District list. I think Zach's right that card's just absurd. Between the Esper Narset deck we played yesterday with a pair of it, and then that one. Sure, I'm going to keep this. Would really like to draw like a Death Shadow or Temur Battle Rage, but this hand is not stellar against turn 1 Shambling Vent. So Shambling Vent, for those not familiar, tends to be indicative of a fair interactive strategy, which means we're going to want more threat density and less combo focus. This hand unfortunately only has 1 threat in it. So if my opponent has like Fatal Push or Path to Exile, we're just going to be spinning our tires for a little bit. Well, to be fair, Aaron, you couldn't have subbed that much longer before we did. You did. What's my thing here? I've only been subscribed to my own channel for 44 months, so you only waited about half a year after I got a sub badge. Yeah, I agree. Once you get Mobilized District down to a 2-mana activation, that's where it's like, this card is nuts. Yep. do a drunk stream. I don't drink, and I've never been drunk, so probably not something I'd do. No, it's against the TOS to, from my understanding of the TOS, and I'm not a lawyer, so maybe my understanding is not perfect. It's against the TOS to say, I'm going to take a drink every time you send in money. So you can't say, okay, for every $5 donation, I'm going to take a drink, because that's a huge liability, right? Because then people literally die in instances like that. But it is perfectly legal to drink and get drunk on stream. You just, from my understanding, you can't just say, I'm going to take X dollars and always drink when you send in X dollars. So I think, okay, so what am I doing with my sideboarding here? So I'm leaving in my Dismembers. I'm cutting Mutagenic Growths and Temur Battle Rages and Become Immense. These are kind of our combo-esque cards. And I think, overall, these cards tend to not be good against heavily interactive decks, because them killing your creature in response to Become Immense or Mutagenic Growth basically means you get 2 for 1. I am, however, leaving in a pair of cheeky Battle Rages, because I do feel like we're going to get into situations where Temur Battle Rage is our only card that could win the game, and a large Death Shadow, or even just a Hooting Mandrills, being able to double strike on occasion is very valuable. Like, Temur Battle Rage can, like, let my Hooting Mandrills, like, cut through an opposing Tarmogoyf, or a Thoughtseize, or a Reality Smasher, or something like that, depending on which black-white deck they're playing. Hey, Oxy, thank you for the 8-month resub. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Hope you are having a wonderful Tuesday morning. Well, this hand has 4 lands and 3 mystery cards, so we're going to mulligan. London mulligans falling down, falling down, falling down. London mulligans falling down now, please, Watsy. Alright, so notably, there is a second land on top of our deck, thankfully, so that means we are explicitly not fetching on 1, because I want to draw the second land. Got a 2-pair Hootie Kicker. Can this go towards Jeskai Blade? Definitely would win. Thanks for the support. If I recall correctly, that will make Jeskai Blade tomorrow morning's deck list. Ten out of 10 will make it tomorrow morning's deck list, assuming no one else bumps any Modern or Legacy stuff. I appreciate the support. I think I want to prioritize double black here. Play my big scary 1/2. You see any War of the Spark cards that you want to try in Modern? The new Narset might potentially be a reasonable hate card in the sideboard for, like, Blue-Red Phoenix or something like that. And, like, it's an okay effect for control decks. But other than that, I'm not really sure. We did not get to Mono Red Friends yesterday. Our viewer count was kind of low, because Day 9 was doing his new thing with Kibler on Monday afternoon, so I decided not to run super late. I wrapped up about 4:30. Hey, Trax, welcome. Good morning. New Saheeli in the sideboard of JAC. That actually sounds really good, Nivik. Like, one of that deck's problems is, like, threat density, and being able to turn Wish into a real threat. That actually sounds really sweet. They boarded an Ensnaring Bridge. I did not board in ways to interact with that, so I'm going to concede. Yay, Modern. Would you accept a list with the green finale? Maybe. Does that deck need more Titans? Is that what that deck is looking for? What problem does green finale solve in that deck? Sell me on it. I did have 2 Assassin's Trophy. That's true. So I could have sat there doing literal nothing, trying to draw to my 2 of. Nah, that sounds miserable. Off it. We play Magic to have fun around here, and that's not fun. Yeah, I don't think it does, Aaron. I think Amulet Titan's problems stem from not playing an efficient enough game plan when it doesn't have Amulet, not finding Titan consistently enough. Hey, Gorgia, I think it's too slow in that deck. Like, adding 2 mana to something is really slow in Modern. Again, to ask yourself the question, is the card I'm wanting to play in Modern brutal and efficient? If the answer is no, it's probably not playable. Jeff, the competitive Magic player, might have stuck around, but Jeff, the entrepreneur, is in controller. That's exactly correct. If we were at the point in my life where I was 4-1ing and 5-0ing enough Moto leagues that I was cashing $300 or $400 a month out of Magic Online tickets because we were just destroying all of these leagues, I 100% would have been miserable and played that game out. But present Jeff is an entertainer, not a miserable Magic Online grinder, and present Jeff is much happier being that way. Say Helios. That actually seems pretty decent too. Playing her in Cheerios. Yeah, so Bauble is a cheap cantrip that enables Delve and triggers Prowess for us, basically, Johnson. Yeah, the Neoform Rider deck's actually in the deck queue. It's towards the bottom of the Modern section, but it's in there. Which, the Modern section is actually not that deep these days. So probably get to it sooner rather than later. Alright, Grishel Brands. We're going to ditch the Goryo's Vengeance here. Their hand's actually really good. If their hand drew Faithless Looting, they were actually going to turn 1 us. God bless. Sure, but the Amulet... The matches where you side Amulet out, Aaron, are good matchups because you can side Amulet out. In my experience playing Amulet, the matches that are bad because when you don't have Amulet, your deck is embarrassing and you can't race them. And your interaction is clunky and slow. Like, there's a reason why Amulet Titan wasn't well represented at the Pro Tour. Mythic Championship, whatever we're calling it these days. This might be a game where we Lightning Bolt ourselves next turn to, like, kill with these shadows quickly. Hopefully we'll draw and just kill them on 3. I think that's lethal, right? So we go Fetch Shock. Bolt myself makes these... Yeah, that's lethal. Bolt myself, make these 7/7s. Double Strike. Yeah, I really like this build of Shadow. Killing people on turn 3 is great. Welcome to Thunderdome. Enjoy your stay. Well, so... I think the reason why Saheeli is potentially better than Mentor is Mentor dies to all of the same removal that... Mentor dies to all of the same removal spells that what's it called dies to, your other dorks, basically. Whereas Saheeli dodges a lot of those removal spells, which is appealing. Alright, do I want these cards is a real question. Brutality's probably better than Cindervines. That's true, that's true. They took 2 turns, we took 3 turns, 3 plus 2 is 5. It's unfair to call that a turn 3 kill. Modern's a turn 4 match, so that was a turn 5 kill. Holy guacamole tacos, thank you for the Twitch Prime support. I appreciate that. Welcome, welcome, welcome. The best part about them rebranding it from the Pro Tour to the Mythic Championship is that I no longer have to correct people that it's not the professional tour, it's the promotional tour. Yeah, this seems reasonable. A couple extra discard spells, a couple of surgical extractions. Otherwise, let's just get linear and race them. Yeah, the fact that they decided it was a good idea to reverse brand all previous Pro Tours as Mythic Championships felt incredibly strange to me. I was like, I really feel like we should just draw a line in the sand and, like, start counting anew. And then, like, the fact that they split the difference and were like, well, we're going to call this MC1, but we're going to call previous Pro Tours Mythic Championships. It's like, can you pick one? Either it's not MC1 or the other ones aren't Mythic Championships. Either one is probably fine. But just, like, draw a line in the sand and get on one side of it. Stop dancing back and forth. I did see L6 list. It looked incredibly sweet. Looked incredibly sweet. The downside to getting a Stomping Ground tier as opposed to another black source is that if I draw Thoughtseize next turn, I'm unable to Thoughtseize and Death Shadow. Yeah, Elsic is the blue-white 4-district special. Are they dead? 3, 6, 15, right? 3, 6, 15, 18. Alright, smells pretty dead. L6 list is not in the queue currently. Now, they could have, like, Lightning Axe or something here to prevent themselves from dying. Read the Bones. That's an interesting one. Oh, they have Chalice the Void in their deck. That's a good one to know about. They are a good Chalice deck. I like that sideboard tech again right now. Blood Moon as well. So they pitched the Nourishing Shoal. So I'm going to leave the Bloodstained Mires in their deck in their graveyard because it doesn't matter. I was just casting this for a prowess trigger. Now the question becomes, though, do I want to... So they're at 27 now. I think I just hold on to the Surgical at this point. Play this Goyf out. I guess I could have played Death Shadow too. Maybe that's the better line. Because Death Shadow does more damage next turn, right? Does someone have a link to L6 list? I posted it in the standard channel on Discord last night. Alright, so they're at 19. I have 6, 7, 8, 9, 18. Seriously, I can only do 18. Is that real? 6, 7, 8, 9. That sucks. Yeah, I am going to surgically extract their nourishing shoals. That's definitely happening. What'd they do with this Read the Bones? One bottom, one top, eh? Alright, let's find out what you did. Okay, so if they rip a Through the Breach, they actually kill us next turn. So we need to fade through the breach. I'm just gonna count again, right? This is 6, 7, 8, 9, and this is 9 more. Goyf's only at 3-4. Let's get L6 listen today. 10 out of 10. That's not a Through the Breach. They're dead. And thank you for the support, Punchworthy. I appreciate it. All right. Quick 2-1. God bless Modern. 41 minutes already through 3 matches. I saw that one this morning, Vortex. Yeah, this hand's pretty good. The question is, do I want to bauble on 1 to see my extra card sooner? Or do I want to save it to get a prowess trigger? Hey, look, Bant Spirits. That matchup we were talking about earlier. So I think I'm actually going to play the Bauble, because I can scry because I have a fetch land and a shock land. So I'm going to take a peek at the top of my own deck here. I don't want to draw a Wooded Foothills, so I'll fetch. And if I did want to draw the Wooded Foothills, I would play the Stomping Ground and play the Soul-Scar Mage off of that. So this gives me a little bit of control over what I draw off the Bauble by taking a peek and then having a shuffle. CS Squared, thank you for the brand new Prime support. There's a lot of great people making a lot of great stuff on Twitch right now. Thanks for supporting mine this month with that. And Andronis Arcana, thanks for re-upping for the 11th month. Happy Tuesday, folks. Good morning. Oh, I muted myself. That's Conley Wood's mono blue deck. Admiral said he's going to add it. With their tier 3, I assume. Morning, Jack. Alright, dealer. Battle rage me. More turn 3 kills. Battle rage me. Gosh, we're so unlucky. So this is 1, 4, 11. Should have fetch shocked last turn to thin the deck, obviously. I think I'm just going to go ahead and burn the Become Immense here. This is better if I draw another Become Immense next turn. And notably, they don't have a path right now, so it guaranteed gets the damage in. I am going to go ahead and wait on the Mutagenic Growth, so that way if they draw a creature next turn, I can use the Mutagenic Growth to push my Soul-Scar Mage through a blocker. Kind of surprised they didn't push this to 3, because their hand is 2 Collective Companies, so like if they draw a 3-drop, they can't play it now. Or if they would have pushed this to 3 and they drew a 2-drop, they could play a 2-drop, obviously. Sometimes you flood out in your 18-land deck. You know, it's possible I'm supposed to Mutagenic Growth here, so that way our second Lightning Bolt draw is lethal. The upside to holding the Mutagenic Growth is it makes a Temur Battle Rage draw better, though. Yeah, they elected not to take the second. Maybe they thought they were looking at this one. They definitely should have pushed both their vials up last turn, though. So their hand is double company, so if they don't play a land here, that means they drew a spell. Am I casting that? I don't think so. Another Mutagenic Growth. I think I shuffle that. I think they plan to jump block me here, so I'm just going to go ahead and use this Mutagenic Growth as a Doomblade. Yeah, I think I want to shuffle here. I don't think I want to draw another Mutagenic Growth. I think that's worse than the average card in my deck. I wonder what Modern with 5 to 10 more starting life would look like. It's an interesting question. If you want a kind of cheeky answer, the easiest way to know what Modern looks like with like 3 to 5 more starting life is if you just got rid of Shocklands and printed the original duels into the format. So depending on what they hit here, Temur Battle Rage on this Goyf might still be lethal. We're dead to land into double Lord or double Exalted Creature. Alright, we have them under the Abyss here at least. What did they draw? They didn't play a 4th land. They didn't put a 2 or 3 drop into play. They didn't Path to Exile me. Like, what is a possible Magic the Gathering card in their deck? Like, Aether Vial? They drew Aether Vial? They could have drawn another Coco? Yeah. Okay. Morning, D20 Bandit. So I want to leave my Goyf as big as possible so they have creatures in their graveyard so I can delve all my creatures. I have 2 Baubles and I have 2 instants. Hey, Weasel. No exclamation point in front of the chair. I appreciate the support. Hey, coming in hot. It's not going to be this week, and maybe not next week, but once I get the standard queue back under control, once the hype from the new set dies back down a little bit, I am planning to start doing like 1 day at least every other week of all modern content, because that was good when we were leading into the new set release. I enjoyed doing a couple days of all modern. I think doing one of those every once in a while would not be a bad thing. How many sub points do I have? At this current moment in time, I have 3,475 subscriber points. How do we sideboard here? The question is like, how interactive does my opponent's deck get and how interactive do I want to be? Again, all of these be linear, run you down cards, I think get a bit worse post-board when my opponent is likely going to be interacting with me more. I think I want to trim some amount of these in this matchup. I actually think Mutagenic Growth and Battle Rage, I think I just want to just coward split these all around. Actually, I wonder if Hootie is better than Become Immense, just be more threat dense. I don't hate that in general. Let's do this. What are subscriber points? I think I have a command. Yeah, so there's the rough breakdown. Basically, the higher tier subs translate to more points. So, while I have almost 3,500 points, I only have about 3,000 unique subscribers. Because the tier 2 and tier 3 translate to higher tiers, or to more points. Holy guacamole! Thanks for the 2 months. Welcome back. This hand is going to bleed for its mana a little bit, but it's got good spells, so let's keep. And the question is, do I Thoughtseize or do I Swiftspear on one? Probably. Yeah, exactly. Tier 3 gives more value in terms of sub points. No second land yet. Could get caught with their hand in the cookie jar here a little bit. I think I'm gonna just grab Blood Crypt and Swiftspear to start. That's true. Tier 3s do get extra emotes. Yeah, I think so, Inner. Do I get a higher cut of tier 3 subs versus tier 1 subs per dollar? I don't actually. So, newer streamers get a higher cut of the higher tier ones, but once you hit a certain threshold, Twitch just does 70-30 with you on all the tiers. So, wow, they had a Thalia and they didn't play it. That's incredibly good for me. They also boarded in Teaglesworth, which does not seem particularly good. I guess we did kill them with Become Immense, so I'm really glad I cut the Become Immense for these, huh? Because they have Teague in their hands. Ephemeral, thanks for the 4-month resub. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And this, again, like we talked about this in Standard too, and this is definitely true in Modern as well. A deck like what we're playing, while I think it's definitely good, it's not really an established deck in the format that's super popular. So we gain percentage points in some of these matchups because our opponent doesn't know exactly how they should be sideboarding against what we're doing. Not only does Trample, well, not even explicitly because of the pump spells, Tom, but because that extra card in the Delve is often relevant. Twitch Prime for days. God bless the Bezo Bucks. Teague, sure. So I don't want to Thoughtseize here because I know their last card is Breeding Pool Mausoleum Wanderer. So if I Thoughtseize, they'll just you know, I think I actually just pumped the brakes here. They don't have a lot going on. And like, if they attack me with both of these next turn, I like dismember this, block this. I think we're probably dead here. I think I needed to hit my green source on time. Yeah, no Thought Scour is the big difference. I think this might be too little too late. We'll see. Depends on how good the rest of their draws are here. The fact that Horizon Canopy is able to convert into a real resource is a big deal. But if they brick on creatures here for a turn or two, like I can, especially if they attack into the Swiftspear, like I get to dismember this, and the next turn I can untap and abrade the Supreme Phantom. If they hit like a Spell Queller here, we're probably dead, or like a second Lord, we're probably not going to be able to power through. Whatever's easiest for you, Scooter. Noble Hierarchy is. I guess that doesn't really matter. So your last card is Supreme Phantom here, which should mean we're actually in an okay spot. Because I get to abrade that next turn. Did they take down the competitive meta events on Arena? Yeah, that was a temporary event. Not a Tiger, coming in hot with the 8-month resub. Welcome back. Alright, so if I want to play Hootie this turn, I'm going to take a Love Tap for at least 2 in the air from the Supreme Phantom. It lets me start pressuring them pretty quickly, though. It goes sideways if they draw a Lord next turn, though. I suppose they like a Spell Queller here. That's bad for me too. But they draw one more brick. Hootie's gonna close this out. I don't think I can afford the risk associated with losing the 2 life here. I If I do this, I have to fetch shock to play this Abrade, which is probably not ideal. Although it gets this into play next turn, which means my Temur Battle Rage pumps up another thing, which is ideal. I think I'm just going to hope they bricked. All right. In the immortal words of the modern player, am I dead yet? Ohio coming in hot with the 13 months. Unfortunately, we are right on like peak standard season, so I cannot make time for another modern deck today. You are welcome to cut one into tomorrow morning or later this week. I was actually saying, I'm not sure how long you've been hanging out, but I was saying that I think we're going to get back to doing an all modern day every week or every other week or so. Probably not this week, maybe the end of next week. All right, so they have nothing. They're dead. And they had nothing and they're dead. All right, 3-1. I think I might throw this list up on my website. I've really, this is our second time playing this through. And I think I like this Soul-Scar Mage over Wild Nacatl. It's a little bit less aggressive in some pots, but the consistency of not having to, like, play planes in your mana base is really nice. Hey, hostage. I hope your recovery goes swiftly. Around a Reflector Mage blood there. Now, we were dead to Reflector Mage regardless, Squid Squad. Because they would have just had two power attackers. Yeah, I agree, Ohio. I agree. This is our second time playing with Soul-Scar over the Wild Nacatls. It's felt like it was a good change. So, I already have my turn 2 play lined up in Tarmogoyf, so I'm actually just going to wait on this Bauble so I can get a point of damage in by triggering Prowess next turn. Also, if I wait a turn on this, I can Bauble myself and then choose to fetch or play a Shockland, depending on what's on top of my deck. Do I like this sideboard more than the other one? I don't really know that I have a really informed opinion on the sideboard. I do like the idea of Cindervines in general in Modern. I think that card seems really sweet. It's kind of like an Eidolon Naturalized Split card, which seems appealing to me. So there's a Stomping Ground on top of my deck, which I obviously don't want to draw, so we're going to fetch it out. So then next turn, these add one more power. All right, that should be lethal, right? I guess they could have a Path to Exile. No need for help, APR. Standard's great right now. Can I threaten to push lethal this turn? I think I can, right? So this puts them at 15. This puts this to 6, and then I can Temur Battle Rage. God, this deck goldfishes so many turn 3 kills. They might have a path here and not be dead, but like, good golly, does this deck goldfish a lot of turn 3 kills. Like, I would be surprised if that worked here. Like, this is one of the matchups where going for the turn 3 kill is not good, but this is game 1, and I have these cards in my deck, so I definitely think I should make them have it there. Like, they have 7 cards, so like, they're pretty likely to have it, but I definitely think this is a place where I just, like, take my chips and, like, push them in. Because, like, we're heading into, like, Terminus, Supreme Verdict Sweeper territory, so I just want to, like, try and cut them off at the pass, basically. Post-board, this is going to be a matchup where we sideboard a good deal. Thoughts using Temur Battle Rage on the Goyf because it would cut off fetch lands. Nah, I think I wanna just try and kill them there. I also don't want them to. I also would prefer they don't path my Tarmogoyf. Like in an ideal world, I prefer my Soul-Scar Mage get pathed to my Tarmogoyf getting pathed. Yeah, at least for the good decks, Pelly. There's a lot of decks that people play that, in my opinion, aren't very good that lack that ability. That oops, you died, I think is the defining factor in decks that I would consider good in Modern. I assume this is going to bounce my Shadow. Yeah, you are welcome to cut in a standard deck, Ohio. 10 out of 10, super welcome to cut in standard. Thief of Sanity is great. Blast Zone. All right, we done. We done. Sometimes they want it more than you, chat. Sometimes they want it more than you, and that's okay. Well, Elsic Walkers are just a little baby cut. So Elsic Walkers is going to be up fourth. It's okay. I have the bandwidth to do a long standard stream today. It's gonna be all right. And again, in a matchup like this, we trim almost all of these combat tricks because they're just not particularly good. Because of the, like, Path to Exile you saw in that first game. Thought there was a card that the same thing Blast Zone does in Modern. There's an artifact that has a similar effect, but there's not a land. So Engineered Explosives and Ratchet Bomb have very similar effects to Blast Zone, but they're not a land drop, which is what makes Blast Zone flexible. I actually started Modern early today, so this is the last match from Modern. We've been live for an hour 15 already, hour 10. Yeah, I mean they're also playing it Vernash because like blue-white control in Modern, much like the 2-color control decks in Standard, they have room to just play colorless lands in their mana base, so they get to play Blast Zone as a card that it's like a land spell, basically. Like, it helps them hit their land drops, but it also offers utility in the event that they're flooding. That's also true. Engineered Explosives can only get 2 counters on it in blue-white, and Blast Zone can definitely tick all the way up. Some of the Cloud Post decks running 4 of them. That's awesome. Ohio MTG coming in hot with the Grixis mid-range cut. Yeah, definitely. We'll give you opinions when we're done and as we work our way through it. My only comment before I dive in, how married to Angrath's Rampage are you? Can I cut that card? Because I really think that card is bad. Have you heard of our Lord and Savior Bedeck Bedazzle? I might have an unnatural love for Bedeck Bedazzle. Rampage is a card that's been continually underwhelming, both for me and against me. Yeah, I agree, Pelly. Playing Modern in any tournament where I kind of care about the result is miserable. That being said, the format has a ton of, like, sweet interactions that make playing it as a more casual format a lot of fun to me. Alright, so next turn we'll get to crack 2 fetch lands, then play triple Death Shadow and hope to not get Detention Spirit or swept away. I really like the Cindervines this list is playing hostage, but I don't really have strong opinions on it other than that. If I'm being completely honest, I don't fully remember all of the sideboard cards in the other one, but I do remember it didn't have Cindervines, and I like Cindervines. Well, wow, that's rude. This tucks the creature into my deck and gives me 3 life, so my shadows are bad now. Bedeck Bedazzle does that as well, Ohio. Bedeck Bedazzle can pump your, like, Kefnet inside of combat, and it also kills Flip Search for Azcanta. And it's an instant speed removal spell against the aggro decks. Yeah, right? Imagine if I had waited. And actually, the timing there is actually really good for me. Not without completely overhauling the format, Prince. And honestly, I don't think they should change Modern. I think there's a ton of people that like Modern being the 2 types of decks playing past each other, and there's nothing wrong with that. Let people like things. If you want to play a format that's not playing past each other, there's plenty of other formats in Magic that do that. Standard, Legacy, Limited, like, tons of choices. One of the things that makes Magic such a great game that captures the attention of so many people is because it has so many formats that they can play. Alright, all in. Who's got 2 thumbs and concedes to a sweeper or a detention sphere? This guy right here. You rock, Ohio. Thanks. Listen, I hate to play spoiler, but I've read this book before. All right, you know, of all of the outcomes that could have happened here, that is not the worst. Of all the possible outcomes that could have happened here, that is not on the list of the worst ones. I'll take it. What's a guy got to do to hammer his own health total around here? Fetch, shock, and kindly woods. Go. Where's your blessed alliance now, opponent? You have a path too? Alright, I'm done. Bennett! Thank you for the 313 sub. I appreciate the quarter of a year. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Is there any reason to play Shock in Modern instead of Lightning Bolt? You can't find a copy of Lightning Bolt. All things considered, I think I like this archetype a lot. I think that last matchup where we lost against Blue-White Control, I think this deck is worse against the interactive decks in Modern than some others, than like Grixis Shadow tends to be. But at the same time, I think this deck moderns people much better than those other decks. Like, the number of turn 3 Goldfish kills we had in that league was absurd. I would probably want to try and figure out some way to diversify our threats post board to be a little bit active in the interactive matchups. I'm not sure if Hootie is the best card to do that. Maybe there's some kind of Planeswalker that's reasonable. I do really like the idea of Cindervines in this 75, though. I think this card's probably a little bit underplayed in Modern in general. This is kind of like an Eidolon of the Great Revel / Naturalized Split card. This is very flexible and come in a lot of matchups in this format. And Modern's definitely a format where there's so many different matchups that having a sideboard card that's super flexible is valuable. Anywho, with that, we're going to roll on along into some standard here. I'm going to cut the line for some Grixis mid-range to start.